Did anyone ever tell you that life after 80 can take you by surprise? Even the strongest, most independent people often find themselves unprepared for what comes next. In today's video, we're exploring 5 unexpected and often difficult truths that almost everyone encounters once they cross into their 80s. These aren't just the obvious physical changes or numbers in your medical chart, they're deeper shifts, quiet changes in how others see you, how you experience time, and how your memories begin to whisper lessons you hadn't noticed before. Some of these changes might already feel familiar, while others may come as a shock. But all of them have one thing in common: they shape how we experience aging. Stay with us until the end, because while these truths can sound harsh, recognizing them can bring peace, clarity, and even a renewed sense of strength. There's something empowering about naming what you're living through and realizing you're not facing it alone. Let's begin. The first reality is the shrinking circle of social connection. One of the earliest and most noticeable changes after 80 is how your world of relationships begins to quietly narrow. Maybe you still receive the occasional phone call or welcome visitors now and then, but the rhythm has changed. What once felt like an effortless flow of conversation and companionship now feels more fragmented, more delicate. Friends move away, deal with illness, or pass on. Family members get swept up in their own busy lives. Without even noticing, you begin spending more time in silence than in conversation. This isn't about resentment, it's about honesty. After 80, few people talk about how challenging it can be to maintain social connections. Invitations become less frequent, visits happen less often, and even if you've always valued your independence, the quiet can feel heavier than expected. You might find yourself reminiscing, not out of longing, but as a way to keep your loved ones close, if only in memory. The laughter you once shared, the routines you once took for granted, now feel like treasures. And that's not weakness, it's awareness. It's a quiet shift that nearly everyone faces but few are ready for. That's why it becomes so important to stay emotionally connected to yourself, to your story, to even one or two people who truly matter. When the crowd fades, a few deep connections hold more value than ever before. The second reality is how small health problems start to become big ones. After 80, even minor issues can turn into challenges that take time and patience to heal. A simple cold lingers longer. A small bruise takes weeks instead of days. A quick stumble that once would have been forgotten before lunch might now mean weeks of therapy or even surgery. It's not only about the body slowing down, it's that the body no longer recovers as easily as it used to. The margin for error gets smaller. Something as simple as skipping a meal or not drinking enough water can throw everything off balance. You may still feel strong, and you are, but your resilience no longer runs quietly in the background. What once happened automatically now requires attention and care. The challenge here isn't just physical, it's emotional. There's a kind of frustration that comes with realizing your body doesn't respond the way it once did. If you've always been proud of your independence, this can feel deeply personal, like your own body is betraying you. But awareness is a kind of strength. When you start paying attention to how your body reacts, you can adapt. You can slow down without giving up. You can listen to what your body truly needs: more rest, more water, more patience. This stage of life isn't about proving that you're unbreakable, it's about protecting the strength you still have by treating it with respect. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is give yourself full permission to recover. The third reality is the quiet loss of visibility. One of the most startling things that happens after 80 is how easily you can begin to feel overlooked, not because people mean to ignore you, but because of a subtle shift in how society views age. You walk into a room and the energy doesn't change the way it used to. You speak, and sometimes others talk over you, and not out of rudeness, but because they assume you've finished. You notice yourself repeating things, waiting longer to be heard, or feeling unseen even in familiar company. It's not just about being ignored, it's about the slow fading of presence in a world that moves faster and celebrates youth more than ever before, and few people prepare you for that. It can feel as if your age arrives before you do, as if your stories and experiences are quietly pushed aside, even though they carry more truth than ever. You've lived, you've loved, you've learned, yet sometimes your presence feels muted. This can stir up sadness, frustration, and a quiet kind of grief. But understanding what's happening gives you power. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a symptom of a culture that forgets to listen. You are not invisible. The world may not always recognize your wisdom at first glance, but your voice still carries meaning. Those who choose to truly see you are who listen to your stories, and your reflections are the ones who matter. So, don't retreat. Don't let silence redefine you. Speak what you've seen, what you've overcome. Be that calm, grounded presence that reminds others what wisdom, grace, and resilience truly look like. You might not be the loudest voice in the room, but you are the most experienced, and that carries more weight than most realize. The fourth reality is the narrowing of your daily life. After 80, it's not only your body that changes, it's the shape of your days. The routines, places, and people that once filled your time begin to fade, not all at once, but slowly. You might find yourself going out less, not because you've lost interest, but because the world feels a little further away, more tiring to reach. Friends who once stopped by may have moved, fallen ill, or passed away. Favorite places close. Neighborhoods change. The world doesn't collapse, it simply grows smaller, and that smallness carries a quiet kind of sadness. At first, it's just extra quiet, but soon, that quiet becomes heavier, especially for those who've always valued independence. It's unsettling to watch the familiar slowly drift away. Yet naming this feeling a grief, not weakness, can help. Because what you're mourning isn't only the people or places you've lost, but the rhythm of life itself. Still, there's another truth. While the old world shrinks, a new one can take its place. It may not be filled with grand adventures, but with deeper moments, meaningful conversations, bonds across generations, stories shared in ways they never were before. Life doesn't need to be big to be beautiful. It just needs to stay meaningful. So make that call. Even if it's long distance, join that small group. Even if it's online, step outside. Even if it's just to feel the air on your face. Your world isn't ending, it's transforming. And there's still plenty of space for connection, laughter, and joy. Finally, the fifth reality are the unpredictability of your own body. After 80, your body can surprise you from one day to the next. Some mornings, you wake up feeling sharp, steady, ready for anything. Other days, you move slower, your knees ache, your hands tremble, or your balance feels off for no clear reason. The hardest part isn't just the physical limitation, it's the unpredictability. You've lived in this body for decades, you know it, you trust it, and now, suddenly, it changes the rules. One day, you feel strong, the next, it refuses to cooperate. That inconsistency doesn't just affect movement, it affects confidence. You start to hesitate before leaving home, not because you can't, but because you don't know how your body will behave. That uncertainty can make you feel smaller, more cautious, even fragile, and that's completely understandable. But here's what matters. While your body may be unpredictable, your response to it doesn't have to be. Adaptability becomes your new form of strength. You learn to plan, to pace yourself, to listen. You rest when you need to. You hydrate. You speak with your doctor not only when something goes wrong, but to understand how to care for yourself better. Knowledge gives you back a sense of control. So yes, your body may not always cooperate, but your wisdom and the awareness you've earned still guides you. You are still in charge of how you respond, how you care, how you adapt. As we've seen, these 5 realities are shrinking connections, fragile health, fading visibility, smaller worlds, and unpredictable bodies. May sound harsh, but they are also deeply human. Recognizing them doesn't mean surrendering to aging. It means facing life with open eyes and open heart, embracing truth with courage instead of fear. Growing older doesn't mean losing value, it means gaining perspective. It means understanding that even as some things fade, others deepen. Your insight, your stories, your quiet resilience, they matter. And when we talk about these truths openly, we make aging not something to dread, but something to understand and live with grace. You are not walking through this alone. Every experience you have, every challenge you face, carries meaning, not only for you but for everyone who comes after.